Hey everybody, it's Lucas from La Cocina de Luz in Telluride, Colorado. Today we're going to make a pico de gallo, made with tomatoes, onions, jalapenos, cilantro, lime juice, salt, and a little green onion. First of all, start with slicing these tomatoes. We're going to go for a fine dice here. I like to get increased surface area with these tomatoes, but not make it so small that you don't get a little bit of texture and a little bit of toothsomeness to this. And again, you can always substitute these with, say, some fruit if you want, or whatever other vegetable you would like to see in a salsa, like cucumber is always good. In the summer, it's a lot of fun to make a peach salsa. If you turn the tomato over so the skin side is down, it slices easier and doesn't bounce back on you and cause you to potentially cut yourself if it bounces back. So skin side down is always good. We're going to put these tomatoes in here. We're going to take this onion here. You'll see how I cut the ends off, cut it in half. And now, a method I learned at cooking school to cut this, we're going to go across this way like that. And then we're going to turn it sideways like this, keeping the tip of the knife on the cutting board at all times. And then we're going to go across this way, make a nice fine dice of the onion here. And I think that's about all the onion we need for this much tomato here. So I'm going to throw that in here as well. And now we're going to move on to the green onion. I really like the way that green onions add a little bit of freshness and color to the pico. So I'm pulling some of the skin off the side here of these green onions, these scallions, cebollitas as they're called in Spanish, little onions. And once I do that, then we'll go on to mincing. This knife I got in Spain, in Toledo, which is like the sword and knife capital of Spain. I don't know about Europe, but this knife was handmade by this man named Mario, and he only had 7 fingers. And it wasn't from the knives and the swords so much as it was from the stamping machine. But I bought this knife. I couldn't believe the chef's knife, $30, handmade. In it goes the green onion, the cebollita, and now some jalapeno chili. The workhorse of the kitchen at La Cocina de Luz. We use it in a lot. It's got good heat, it's got great flavor, but it's not too hot. And you can do this a couple of different ways. If you want to cut the ribs out like this, or cut the seeds out, a lot of the heat's inside here. To me, I use the whole thing. But just to show you how that works, it's really easy just to cut the sides off and leave the inside there. There's still a little bit of rib in here, but most of it's out. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in because I like it hot. I like that edginess in the salsa because that's, I think, what a lot of people want to get out of a salsa is the heat as well as the flavor. Fine line there. So, mincing the jalapeno. You can also use habanero if you're feeling really brave, or a serrano chili, which is not as hot as a jalapeno, not as hot as a habanero, but a little hotter than a jalapeno. And then there are those who really want to go super huge and go with something like a ghost chili, but I don't recommend it. Okay, in it goes. Jalapeno. So far, to reiterate, we have about 3 tomatoes. We have a half of a small onion and 1 jalapeno chili in there. And now we're going to take a bunch of cilantro, or maybe a half a bunch of cilantro, and I just cut the stem off like this. And I'm not really too concerned if there's a little bit of stem in there. I could be real picky and pick all these little leaves off, get every little bit of stem off, but I'm not going to do that because it's just more flavor in there. And you'll notice when you grill cilantro, the flavor of cilantro is really strong. In fact, I was talking to some farmers in Montrose, and they said that if they grow parsley next to cilantro, the parsley takes on a cilantro flavor. And just so you know, the cilantro is the leafy part of the coriander plant. Coriander being coriander seeds. When these go to seed, when the cilantro goes to seed, it creates coriander seed. Now all we need is lime juice and salt. I just happen to have juiced some limes. So I'm going to pour some of this in there. just a tablespoon or two, and then some salt. Some people add a little bit of sugar just to balance out the flavor a little more, and even a little olive oil just for carrying the flavor. You can do whatever you want here, but this is basically the pico de gallo. Gotta have tortilla chips for the salsa, and we're gonna make some guacamole here in a minute too. These are tortilla chips that we make at La Cocina de Luz. They're made with tortillas, corn tortillas that are non-GMO, organic tortillas that Tortilla-ria makes at the base of lift 7 at the bottom of Coonskin there. So now we're gonna make some guacamole, because gotta have guacamole to go with this. So we have some onions here that I've chopped previously for the pico de gallo that I will continue to mince here, to chop. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that trick of adding the lime juice to it first, because I think for those of you who don't like that heavy-duty onion flavor, this really helps. So in the onion goes, and a little bit of lime juice, and a little bit of salt. We're going to mix this up a little bit, and this is going to cook while we wait, while we prepare the rest of the items here, the tomato and the avocado. So we'll just let that sit right there like that. So again, I'm going to take another tomato here, because we want the color, we want the flavor. Some people can get pretty elaborate on their guacamole, putting in jalapeno, putting in cumin, even I've seen, cilantro, and then there's the camp that puts in sour cream or mayonnaise and all that, which is all fine. But if you just want a simple guacamole, avocado, tomatoes, onion, lime, salt, that's it. Okay, tomatoes ready to go. Now we'll go on to the avocados. And avocados are one of those fruits that apparently don't get sprayed that much. For some reason, they don't have as much pesticides in them. So it's one of those things that you could probably buy conventionally, not organic, and not feel so bad if you had to make a choice. And unfortunately, organic avocados are kind of hard to come by at La Cocina de Luz on a consistent basis. So we're just getting conventional ones for now. If anybody knows any different, please let me know. So I'm going to take a couple of avocados here. See the seed in here? We're going to pop that out like that. I'm going to grab a spoon here and scrape out this avocado into the bowl like this. I could put it in the KitchenAid if I wanted to. I could leave it really chunky if I wanted to. You don't want to mash it up too much. I think the chunky approach is better. At the restaurant, we use the 20-quart Hobart, I confess. And it works pretty darn good when you're doing 2 cases at once. Okay, sufficiently mashed up. We're going to throw the tomatoes in now. And give it a little stir. Avocados are one of the most perfect food. It has more fiber than a cup of avocado has more fiber than a cup of brown rice, if you believe it or not. And if you're ever fasting, if you're ever doing a cleanse, man, avos are the way to go. There we have our guacamole, our pico de gallo, and our tortilla chips. Yum. So now we're going to make the lime cilantro dressing. Very simple recipe. So I'm going to pour a half a cup of lime juice in here. We're going to put in 2 cups, or 1 cup of sunflower oil. This is organic sunflower oil. That's what we use at La Cocina de Luz. And oils, I think, are really good to get organic if you can, because they hold on to these pesticides and chemicals. And canola oil these days is mostly GMO, so it's good to get the sunflower if you can. So we're going to put a little bit of onion in here, not a lot. We're only going to put 1/4 of an onion in here. And some sugar. We'll start with 1 tablespoon, see how that works. with this recipe. I've never make it this small, but so half a cup of lime juice, cup of sunflower oil, tablespoon of sugar. We'll go for a half teaspoon of salt. See how that works. We're going to do about a quarter of a jalapeno here. Not make it too hot. So the trick is here to blender all this and make sure your taste is where you want it. And then after you've done that, then we can add the cilantro, because we don't want to add the cilantro first. So I'm going to pulse this. Let's see. Make sure it tastes right. Pretty darn good. Could be a little bit sweeter. Trick is to get the nice balance of acid, sugar, and salt. So we're going to add a little bit more. So we're going 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm going to put that other half a teaspoon of salt in. So now we got 2 tablespoons of sugar, a full teaspoon of salt. And I think we're going to be right on. But that's what you need to do, is taste it, test it. And don't make it too far ahead. Just make it for service. Okay, let's see how that tastes. Much better. Now we're going to add the cilantro to it. And again, don't need to get too picky on it and get all the stems off. But make sure you pick out any funky yellow or brown leaves. Going to put this in here like this. And now we're definitely just going to pulse it, because if we want to see the flecks of cilantro in there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, there we go. Lime cilantro dressing. Very simple. And I just happen to have some organic spring mix and some of our salad vegetables from the restaurant. Jicama, carrots, red bells. Put that on here like this. For those of you who don't know what jicama is, it's a tuber. And it's really important if you buy it to make sure it's not squishy at all, that it's really firm flesh on the outside. And when you trim it, don't use a peeler because it'll kill the peeler. Just use a sharp knife and clean off the whole outside husk, because you want to get down to that nice juicy white flesh inside. So we're going to put a little dressing on here, a little bit of this lime cilantro dressing, like that, and a little bit of feta cheese. And that, my friends, is the La Cocina de Luz salad that everybody seems to really like. So we made the pico de gallo today. We made the guacamole. We made the salad with the lime cilantro dressing. Enjoy them. Share them with your family and friends. Come see us at La Cocina de Luz, especially if you have any questions. And we'll see you again next time. Thank you.